What is going on, everybody? My name is Nick from MWK Pop, and I want to welcome you back for another album review. We're going to be taking a look at the second full-length album from VIXX titled Chained Up. And before we get started, I just want to say music video or these reviews are definitely back. We're going to be catching up with what I missed over the last couple of weeks, and we're moving to releasing 3 every single week: Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So with that being said, let's get in and just kind of talk about this song, this album, and the group VIXX in general. And to first start off, I have to give some huge credit to Fish Entertainment for giving us an actual full-length album, where a lot of groups in K-pop release a full-length album that is basically half of it is music we've already heard previously, that you've heard on their minis and singles that have been released previous to their full-length album, and then they label that as a full-length album, which it's not. But VIXX, with their second, have given us an actual full-length album, and I really appreciate that. Secondly, about VIXX in general, is the one thing that I love about VIXX is the fact that that as far as like their vocals are concerned, they are the most well-rounded group in K-pop. I think one of the most, where they're, the vocal range that they can cover, just naturally without actually like basically putting in their natural voices, I guess you can say, goes from the low end to the high end, and that is much different than a lot of other K-pop groups. Most other K-pop groups would kind of specialize in a certain sound, generally tending towards the higher range of, I don't even specifically know what you call it, but the vocal range, towards the higher notes, the higher end of that. So VIXX is spread out all between that, and that gives them a lot of versatility to bring us a lot of different and interesting music. So with that being said, let's get into talking about some of the songs. We're going to talk about 4 songs. We're basically going to hit on all of them except for Chained Up, because I've already talked about that in my music video reaction, and I don't have anything else to say. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the first song, which comes immediately after Chained Up, and that is titled Maze. And of course, Chained Up is a pop song. Maze follows that, except whereas Chained Up is the typical, or not the typical, but the sound and the style, the dark and grim sound and style that we've gotten used to from VIXX over the last couple of years. Maze is not really that. It's actually pretty different as far as the overall sound. The overall sound of this is bright and upbeat. I really like it. And going from something that's dark to going something that's bright, it's really nice. And as I say all the time, I really like the contrast. Contrast is something that really helps you take notice of the differences between things. When they are drastically different, then you really notice the differences. And I always like it when they, the contrast is emphasized in a way. Next up, we got to move on to Spider, which is another, of course, pop songs. We're going to talk about the pop songs first before we get into anything else. But Spider is a pop song which covers more of the vocal range that the groups can, that the members can do as far as their singing than any other song does. And Spider, Maze, and Chained Up are the 3 songs on this album that definitely perfectly, showcase the range that these guys can sing at, just as far as naturally singing, the way that their natural singing voices come out without really going for a high note or a low note. It's just the way that they sing normally, and I really like it. Spider uses the dynamic of their vocal ability really awesome to provide some really cool like low note soundings that are like deep and like coming from, I guess you would say, coming from like your stomach, whatever. And then you got some more high notes that are coming more from like, I guess, I don't specifically know. I'm not a singing, I don't sing, I don't know anything about singing, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But Spider covers a lot of those aspects, which you can hear as far as like the way that they sound, and you can definitely tell that they're different, and that you're singing and the sound is coming from a different portion, than a different part than you would others. And I really like that. And it does have a bit of that dark image that VIXX has, but it also has a bit of that bright and upbeat kind of image or sound as well. And I really, again, contrast is the thing that I like about this. There's a lot of contrast in this song. Moving on, the next song is Heaven. And when you got some pop songs that kind of exemplify, or the perfect examples of VIXX's general sound and idea as far as, the group is concerned. Sometimes you just got to have something that kind of breaks away from what we're used to or what we've become used to over the couple of years, and Heaven is that song where, the song that they released, their second release of the year, which I can't remember what the name of it was, but that one was very different than I've become used to hearing from VIXX, and that was awesome. This is something similar to that, where this one is definitely much more fun and upbeat, and I guess you can say it is definitely more cute than anything else on this album, and that's really, really nice. It's still a pop song, but it kind of falls along the lines or follows the idea and sound of the boy groups that go with that cute sound more than what VIXX has done previously and with the rest of the songs on this album. So it provides, again, we're going to use that word once more, provides a nice contrast between some of the other songs that you're going to hear on this album. The final song that I'm specifically going to touch on is the song titled Chigum Urin, and this is basically the last song on the album before you get into Eternity and Error. They have another ballad song that ends it, but this is going to be basically what I'm going to consider to be the final song on the album. And I think that it's always a really good idea to end an album, a pop album, with a ballad song, because when you've got all of these like kind of generally high energy, high tempo, pop songs that have got people all sort of full of energy, sometimes it's really just nice to bring it all down, relax, chill out, just listen to a nice ballad song, and then that's going to be it. It provides a really, really nice way to just basically end the album, a nice relaxing conclusion to what has been up until this point, or up until the final song, a really, really exciting album. So, since we're talking about albums, we're going to move on to basically the 4 other songs that I have not really specifically called out, but we're going to talk about them right now as my 5th song. And these songs, similar to what VIXX has done previously in other albums, are not specifically, ballad songs, or not specifically pop songs. They fall in that range, that are more inspired by like blues, jazz, R&B, soul, funk, that sort of stuff, which you don't really see so much in the pop, and you don't see it so much in the ballad songs as far as like what the sound is. But these songs are kind of like right in the middle, and they are really, really awesome. And the main thing that I like about these songs is that as far as the track listing is concerned, these 4 other songs are placed in basically the perfect spots, because they break up the flow of pop songs to give you something a little bit different, to take a nice break and a rest from the awesome pop, to basically dial down the energy a little bit, just a little bit, to give you a song that's really just nice to listen to, and it's just nice to listen to, and focus more on the actual vocals as opposed to having the music track be the thing that sucks you in and then have a catchy chorus, right? These songs are, more vocally oriented than the rest of the songs, than the other pop songs on the album, and they're placed in basically the perfect points to give you a nice break from listening to a long chain of pop songs. I really, really like that. So, there you go. That's my just brief review of this album. I've touched on basically every single song that there is on the album, other than Error and Eternity, because those songs are basically old. So now it's time to introduce a brand new thing that I'm going to be doing in these album reviews, and that is going to be, I'm actually going to be rating them, because previously I didn't, but now I am. We're going to have 3 ratings, which is basically going to be that they're worth buying, you should check it out on iTunes to buy individual songs if you can, because there's some that are good, some that are bad, and then the final lowest rating is going to be that you should judge for yourself, because this of course is just my personal opinion. So with that being said, it's time to give out my first ever rating for an album, and that of course is going to this one, because that's what this video is about, and it is going to be, I'm going to rate VIXX and their second full album, Chained Up, as worth buying. Every single song on this album is fantastic. VIXX and Jellyfish Entertainment have delivered a quality product yet again. You cannot, it's to be expected at this point, and they have definitely delivered, even though you're going to be paying for Eternity and Error twice if you've already purchased their previous albums, or the albums that those songs were previously associated with. I definitely think it's worth supporting Jellyfish Entertainment and VIXX in general to keep producing the good quality content that they are doing. I really, really do. So there you go. That is my review I want to know what you thought of this album. Leave a comment below to let me know. Also, get connected with me on social media. Got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and a bunch of others. There's links below for you to give me a follow. And if you think that someone else would like to hear this album review, then do not hesitate to share it in the appropriate place. I would really, really appreciate it. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye. This time, we're taking a bit of extra time to take a look at the newest album from FX. They finally made their comeback as 4 this time, and that album is titled 4 Walls, named after the song that they are using to promote the entire album. And just like Red Light and Pink Tape before that,